Okay, so for the topic B4, thermodynamics, let's see. So we just completed the topic B3, and the last part that we did was internal energy. That is the connecting link between B3 and B4. Although, like, this is not for SL, it's only HL. So SL students can keep themselves to that. Okay, so this is B4 thermodynamics. So what is happening? Delta U plus W. So this is the first law of thermodynamics, which is written in front of your screen. So very good, no problem with that. PV is equal to nRT is always valid equation in the topic of thermodynamics. You have to keep that in your mind. That whatever be the question, PV is equal to nRT is always valid like that. This equation is valid for a process, not for the cycle. The first law of thermodynamics for the cycle can also be written, but it will be the total heat is equal to the total work done. So that formula is not written here. You can note it. This is the first law of thermodynamics for a cycle. This is for a process. Now, the internal energy formula we just had already discussed 3 by 2 nr delta T when the number of moles are given, 3 by 2 capital N kb delta T. So kb, Boltzmann constant, is always going to come with the capital N. They have a relation, and n is always, small n is always going to come with the capital R. They're always related with each other. Keep that in mind. So this is 3 by 2 capital N kbt. You can use any formula, but you can also add the other formula that I gave you like this. This will be used in isobaric when the pressure is constant, 3 by 2 V delta P when the volume is constant. So you can add up these formulas. So internal energy is done. Now there is something called the work done. Now this is very dicey, listen to it. Now the formula for, in the mechanics, we have done F into delta S, like force into the change in displacement. This formula can be derived from F delta S, like the pressure is equal to force into area, like that. So again, a derivation, no worries about that. So it is the same formula, but in the thermodynamics, this is the formula that we are going to use. Now, if the process is isovolumetric, the work is zero. If the process is isobaric, you can use this formula. But if it comes to isothermal process or it comes to adiabatic process, the formula for the work done is not in your syllabus. So if your teacher has given you those formulas, some of the students have reported me, so you need not to remember that for the sake of IB physics at least. So the formula for find the work done for isothermal is not in your syllabus. If they've, either the work done will be given to you and they will ask you the question on the heat or the internal energy, and you can use the first law of thermodynamics, or if they want you to find the work done, the graph will be given to you and you have to find the area under the graph. Now that could be tricky at times. So again, you have to watch the lectures, because I have given this thing in the lectures also, and I have added one example also there. Like if this is the example, IB is asking you about the area, this is how you have to find. Okay, so nothing more about this formula, that's it. This is entropy. Now, okay, we would be coming to entropy. Before that, let's go for this. This is the formula which is used in adiabatic process. Okay, like PV is equal to nRT is always valid. So for adiabatic, PV divided by T is constant. This is a very famous formula which is usable. And the another formula is this. Now, the gamma value that is used in IB is 5 by 3. Okay, so there are three formulas that we can derive. One formula is given, but other formulas can be derived. Like PV is directly proportional to T, P by T can be replaced with 1 by V, like that. So you keep on replacing this thing in your basic formula. You keep on creating the other two formulas. So one formula will be this and another formula will be this. So you must know this formula. You must remember it. If you are not remembering, then you must know how to do it. So I have also given this formula. Gamma value is 5 by 3, and you can plug in all the values here and you can find like whatever equation. All of these three equations are important for adiabatic processes. They will be utilized in your numerical values. Okay. Now, so now there is something called the efficiency. So that you already know, we have already discussed. The efficiency is always the output divided by input. So input into my lectures is too much, and I have been speaking from so many hours now. So what is the useful output for that? Are you people getting something? Are you people learning something? That is the output. So that will be the efficiencies of my lecture. Okay. Now, the efficiency Carnot is like in the Carnot cycle, this is kind of an ideal efficiency. So it's the maximum possible efficiency for an engine which is working in the temperature limit of T1 and T2. And so the efficiency will be 1 minus Tc divided by Th. Okay. Now, this can be written as 1 minus Q2 by Q1, and this is equal to work net divided by Q1. Please watch the lectures if you want to know the details for this. Otherwise, I believe this is quite simple, and I think you people already know it. Okay, so this is how you find the efficiency. There is nothing more in the topic of thermodynamics. Yeah, entropy. Sorry. There is only one thing left, which is entropy. Now, coming to this part, this is very crucial. Now, earlier, the thermodynamics was in your previous syllabus, and it was covered in engineering physics as an optional. But now they have added everything into your regular syllabus. But even at that time, statistical thermodynamics was not the part of your syllabus. So this is first time that IB has been talking about the statistical thermodynamics. Now that is really crazy because statistical thermodynamics is one of the subjects that I have learned in my post graduation. So it's not that easy, I would say. It's kind of very confusing, but it is very good. I have created one video on this, so even that is available in the lectures, by the way, so you can watch it. So this is the formula for these for the entropy when you talk about the microstates and the macrostates. Number one, the lecture is there on the YouTube channel. Number two, there are two or three questions that I have uploaded recently for the topic of entropy for paper 2 in the theme B. So you just go to the YouTube homepage, find for the paper 2 questions assorted topic wise, and find for the theme B. You will find that question. Okay, so it will give you an idea how to use this formula. What are microstate and what is a macrostate? The other formula for the entropy is delta Q by T, which is again a very famous formula. It is similar to this, like work is equal to P delta V and Q is equal to T delta S. So these two are quite similar formulas and they're very popular formula. So this is about entropy. I think there is nothing more that can be added here. Of course, there are four processes: isothermal, adiabatic, isobaric, isovolumetric. I don't think that we need to talk about that. But anyways, so this is the topic B4. Let us go for the topic B5 in the same video because it's only 10 minutes that we have been making this video now. Okay, so this is the topic B5, current and the circuits. So this is one of those topics that have been rated the most difficult topic of IB physics. I literally tell you, this is actually not the most difficult topic, but you ask any IB student, like what is previous year student, which is the most difficult topic, they will say current and electricity. I don't know why, but still. So let us delve deeper into it. So what is happening here is, first of all, I is equal to delta Q by delta T. The voltage is equal to this. So this formula, we would be dealing this with in the topic D2 also. So work is equal to Q delta V, and it is absolutely the same formula. Not that very important for us, by the way. This is the Ohm's law. V is equal to IR. Easy. This formula is very important about the resistivity, or the resistance is equal to resistivity into L by A. Either way, this formula is very important, and this formula has been used 1,000 times in paper 1A. So you can just expect any other question on this. Find the ratio of the of the resistivities for the two types of materials, or find the ratio of the resistances of two different materials, like that. So this is very famous for the ratios. Now this is for the power. So the power is basically, you can say that power having three formulas, which is V into I square R, and V square by R. Again, there are three different contexts in which you have to use them. Let me give you a bit idea about it. So P is equal to VI is used when you want to find usually the total power used in the circuit. I square R is used for the losses in the power, and V square by R is usually used when the rating is given, like this is the device which is working on 220 volts and rated 1 kilowatt, like that. So this is used in those kind of cases. From there, you have to usually find the resistance of the device, like 220 volt, and the power is 1 kilowatt. So this will be the resistance of that machine. So I have talked about this thing in details in my lectures, and I have even discussed some of the questions there, that how to use which formulas in different contexts. So there are two types of circuits, simple circuit and the complex circuit. I have even discussed that in the lectures. Okay. So that is not the part of data booklet. So you can have a look there. And these are the series and parallel circuits. So not that very big deal here. I think you already know this, that in series circuits, the currents are same, but the voltage will be just added, V1 plus V2, like that. And the resistance in series will be again added like this. But in parallel, it is 1 by RP, like this, and then V1 is equal in the parallel. So this thing I think you already know. Okay, not many, not very important. And this is also not that very important formula. So let me go for the formulas that I have given for you. First of all, we are going to go for the batteries in combination. Now, these are the resistances in combinations, series and parallel. But instead of resistances, we can also use the batteries in series and parallel. So the batteries in combination is like this. So the problem with IB is that they have not, I think the books are not teaching batteries in combinations properly, but they are asking questions on the same. So batteries in combination, I have clearly written E1 R1, E2 R2, R1 R2 are internal resistances. So if they have to be combined, the total voltage will be E1 plus E2, and the total resistance will be R1 plus R2. And for this, the voltage will be E1 minus E2, and the total resistances will be R1 plus R2. So this is for the series, which is quite simple. I believe you understand what I'm saying. So if you have a problem in understanding, please watch the lectures. And in the parallel, there is the condition that you got to have the same voltage. Okay, like it should be the same batteries. You cannot be using different batteries, even an E2, you cannot be using that. For that also, there is a very big formula, but IB has never asked that question till date. So I have not given you that formula in the data booklet. So the voltages have to be same, internal resistances can be different. When you convert that into the combination, the voltage still remains the same. So E and E remains E, but R1 and R2 is converted into the parallel resistance, for which you are just using the parallel combination formula. So this becomes your combined batteries. I think this becomes utmost important for you, because this is again a gray zone, and IB is known to ask questions in gray zones, because IB thinks that you people will be leaving this thing, no? So my advice to you is, do not leave this. This is not that very difficult to understand. Please think on it. You can do it. If IB asks this question, you could be among some of the students, those who would be able to do these questions. Okay, different voltages not in our syllabus. I have not given that formula. Okay, now what next? So when you're talking about the resistances in series and resistances in parallel, there is another formula here. Like let's say these two resistances are in parallel, R1 and R2, and the total current which is coming is I. So you're dividing this current into two parts, I1 and I2. So there is a shortcut formula for this again, if you can remember. If you do not remember this, there will be a big procedure that you have to follow, finding the total voltage and then finding the I1 individually, I2 individually, or you can even use these two formulas. That is completely your sweet will, not very important, not vital that without these formulas you can't solve the question. It is not like that. You can do that. You can solve those questions, but still, if you want to ease yourself, you have some of the memory left in your brain, your RAM is not full, so you can remember that formula. Okay, now a little thoughts about the highly dreaded Kirchhoff's law. Now, my dear students, listen to me. Kirchhoff's law has been removed from your syllabus explicitly, like it was mentioned that Kirchhoff's law is no longer in your syllabus. And even books are not talking about Kirchhoff's law anymore. So if there are schools, there are teachers, those who are teaching Kirchhoff's law to their students, I just wonder, why are they doing that? I tell you why are they doing that, because they are fearful. They feel that in this topic, according to them, everything is easy. The only difficult thing was Kirchhoff's law, which has been removed by IB. So might be that IB will be still asking questions from Kirchhoff's law, but the Kirchhoff's law is not in your syllabus. So my advice to you is, do not go for Kirchhoff's law, because that is literally too much. It's quite difficult. But in place of that, you can you you try not to avoid terminal potential difference. This is one of the formulas that can be used in place of Kirchhoff's law, and you can still solve your question without the help of Kirchhoff's law. Okay, so that is very important. Now what is this? So this is one battery and this is the internal resistance. Now there is a conflict here. It may or may not be internal, doesn't matter, but it should be in series, so it doesn't matter. So for this sake, we take it as internal resistance. This is the battery. The current is going out of the battery. This is like discharging. The current is withdrawn from the battery. The EMF is E, the internal resistance is R. So the voltage difference across the point AB is given as E minus IR, which is equal to VT. That is the total voltage, which is E minus IR. And for the charging, this point is A, this point is B. Charging means that current is entering into the battery. Usually, only the first formula is important, but in IB, both of the formulas have been used sometimes. Even in the paper one kind of questions, both of the formulas are used. So in charging, when the current is entering into the battery, you can say the voltage difference VAB, or the terminal potential difference, it will be equal to E plus IR. Here it is E minus IR. Here it is E plus IR. So this is a very good tool to be used if you are not ready to use the Kirchhoff's law. So my advice is, this is still a gray zone, but please do not leave it. By the way, the complete lectures, detailed lectures on these every difficult topic is available on the YouTube channel. Become the member, watch them before your exam. This is very important. It could be your last chance of getting 7 on 7 in physics, improving your score, and going to your dream university. And that is what is my dream. Okay, then, see you, students. All the best. This is topic B5. And before we have done that together, in the next video, we would be going for the topic C1. All the best. Bye.